Welcome back to California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. I'm glad you're with us. Some very important information during this part of our program. We are speaking with Ben Green. He is the CEO of the American Red Cross's San Gabriel Pomona Valley Division. I thank you, sir, for joining us. The fact is, we live in California. We have beautiful weather, but we are at risk of natural and man-made disasters, frankly. So you're here to talk to us about a campaign that's called Prepare SoCal. Yes, it's SoCal focused, but anyone watching throughout California can learn from this interview. Talk to us about Prepare SoCal.
Well, it's an awareness campaign to make people more aware of the need to be prepared. Studies show that about 6% of the households are prepared for an earthquake.
That seems to me dangerously low. 6%. I mean, we live, I don't want to be alarmist, but we live in earthquake country. I mean, just, you know, it seems like every month or so I feel my house shaking.
There's a variety of reasons why people don't get prepared. Normally they put it off. They say, well, tomorrow I'll do that. And it's so important to take that as a family type of activity and get prepared. It's not too tough.
You know what I noticed? I think about the Fukushima earthquake in Japan, and it seemed like there was a flurry of activity amongst Californians to try to prepare, but like you said, then that activity dies down.
Yes.
I hearken back to the 1994 earthquake. I was living in the San Fernando Valley at the time, and I mean, that was frightful. Phone lines went down. I mean, things can happen in this state.
Yeah. I think it's important, in my family, for example, prepares when we have the change of time in the spring and the fall.
It's a great
time.
To
use that as a family day and just go over your plan. You should have obviously a plan.
You have basically 3 points.
Right.
So give us the 3 points, sir.
Okay. The first thing is prepare a kit. You should have a kit because you can count on not having support from public safety for about 3 to 5 days.
That can be a long time.
It is a long time.
And if you think about it, we can live without eating. We can't live without water.
We can't. And you know, recently we had the big storms that knocked out a lot of electricity.
Right.
And people were whining about not being able to get a hot shower or not be able to use a blow dryer. That's minimum compared to not having water.
So give us a sense, if you are preparing for 3 to 5 days without access to utilities, facilities, whatever it may be, what are you needing in this kit?
You know, it's really interesting. The way I would approach it is first sit down with your family and kind of brainstorm what they think. And then compare that with the lists that are readily available on the website, preparesouthern.california.org. And with that, you'll be able to come up with a list of things to go to the supermarket, go to the hardware store, and get the things that are important for you and your family to have available. It's simple things like teaching your family how to open up the electric garage door when you don't have electricity.
So I just want to make it clear. So the first point is build a family disaster preparedness kit. You can go to preparesocal.org for assistance.
That's correct.
The second point, though, and you make it, is make a family disaster plan.
Right.
And that's what you're describing. Continue.
Yes, because so many people have family members that are during the day in different parts of the city. And it's important that you know where you're going to meet afterwards. And without that, people are going to be missing each other just by 100 yards. So make that plan where you're going to be, and make the plan who you're going to contact out of state. Because if we have a major event here, which it's not a matter if, it's when.
Right.
We need to be able to communicate to our loved ones that we're okay. What
about the third point, which is staying informed?
Staying informed is comprehensive. It's important to take first aid CPR classes, because if you have a major disaster while you're going to be without emergency service providers, so you need to know how to do the basic things like immobilize a broken limb, or to stop bleeding, or to give CPR. And those things are readily available, and the community should engage in those activities and learn how to do those things.
Well, let's talk about community, because in a lot of ways in 21st century Los Angeles, we may not even know our neighbors. We are so much on the move that it's difficult to get to know who lives in our community. So should we really take the time to get to know our neighbors, and how does that play into the question of preparing for disaster?
Well, I think it plays a big role in it, because as you get to know your neighbors and you do this as a neighborhood project, then more people are likely to participate in it. The other things, you know what neighbors are most vulnerable. We had an earthquake in Palm Springs when I lived there, And we got taken care of our immediate needs, and we went to see Gus, who was 93 years old. And it was so rewarding to see 6 other neighbors there to check on Gus. So those are kind of things that you want to do, and you're right, we're so busy with our time, we don't get to have block parties and get to know the neighbors and talk to them.
So what will we see when we go to the website preparesocal.org? What information is available for us through the website so we can be prepared?
Well, certainly how to make a kit, what kit contents should be, and in many cases, the family will have particular things they would add to the kit you wouldn't normally see. Things that are important to them, medications, another set of glasses, things of that nature.
I think about the Twilight Zone episode where there's a disaster and the man who all he wants to do is read and he drops his glasses.
And steps on them.
Yes. But, it's a metaphor for, if you are in need of vision correction, get ready. I mean, you really should have that extra pair of glasses, contact lenses, whatever it may be.
Medications, those type of things. And
Medications.
Brad, the other thing that I think is important too is knowing that the earthquake, the actual earthquake itself, probably won't kill you. What will kill you is the things flying off the walls and falling on you. So preparing your home to be earthquake safe.
I need some advice from you because I have 2 preteen daughters, and I'm sure some of our viewers do as well, younger children. And they can be spooked when you talk about scary things. Any advice on how to talk to younger children about disaster preparedness in a way that they get the message, but they don't get alarmed?
Yeah, and I think it's important to have some open-ended questions for the youth, and they should participate. It's one thing to pull something off the website and look at that. It's another thing to sit down with them as though there was no website and say, if something bad happened in our neighborhood, where would we go? If we have an earthquake, what would we go? Where would we go, and how are we going to communicate? And what are the things we need to have if we can't get help right away? What are the things that we need in the kit? So I really think it's important to sit down with the kids because they're very bright and they can come up with a list that probably pretty well matches the master list.
I do want to ask you about the fact that the entire state is on a coast.
Yes.
And for so long we have been so fixated on earthquakes. But what we learned is we are at risk for tsunami. I mean, it's a minimal risk. But we do know in the wake of what happened with Fukushima, I mean, some of that tsunami came our way, and we have so many homes on the coast up and down the state. If we do live near a coast, which many of us do, I mean, we may not realize it, but the coast is not that far for many of us.
Right.
What steps should we take if we live somewhat coastal?
Well, I think knowing where the high ground is and having a plan and getting to the high ground, it may include being able to get on your bicycles and ride the bicycles. The roads and bridges are going to be in disrepair. You might not be able to take your vehicle, but in my case, we have the mountains right by us, so climbing the mountains.
Talk to me about how prepared are our governments? I mean, are our cities, are our counties, is our state ready?
Well, we're ready to a certain level, but we can always be better. And we do so much in California. We're so much advanced
are we?
Than other states. But that doesn't mean, oh yeah.
Even with earthquake notification, I mean, I'm always concerned that maybe Japan's ahead of us on these issues.
Each community works together with other communities because if you have a major event in one community, you're going to count on your neighboring communities to come to your help.
I see.
And so that mutual aid is important. And they practice that and know that. So our public safety folks are very well prepared, but they can't handle the major event when it occurs.
We are in a state of 37 million people.
Yes, so people got to take care of themselves. And if you have that mindset, then you can spin that off to your family and to your neighborhood. The safer you are as a family is important, and the more prepared you are as a community, it's actually going to save lives.
If our viewers could take away one point, one fact, what would that fact be?
Get involved. Get involved by doing those 3 things: making a plan, getting informed, and making the kit.
Of course. Okay, his name is Ben Green. He is the CEO of the American Red Cross of the San Gabriel, Pomona Valley. Please go to their website. Wherever you live in the state, it is important that you be prepared. The information is uniform. It is preparesocal.org. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for watching Charter California Edition. Welcome back to California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. I'm glad you're still with us today. Our guest is Ed Rendon. He is the president, the founder of the San Gabriel Valley Civic Alliance, which is what?
Well, first of all, glad to be here again, Brad.
Thank you.
And the San Gabriel Civic Alliance is in its second year of existence. It's a group of leaders from various sectors, and we have the 5 rings representing business, labor, government, education, and the community. And the aim is to bring all folks together, all stakeholders in this region, with an emphasis on education and business opportunities in this region.
I want to talk to you about those 5 rings, because when you think about organizations with a business focus, and you do have a good element of that in your membership, it does seem to be singularly focused. I mean, you think about chambers of commerce, and they are singularly focused, often seen as politically one-sided, and as a result, in some ways, not at the table all of the time. Is that part of the reason why you launched the Alliance, was to really expand the length of that table?
Yes, and it is not a thing about what we're not, it is what we could become together. And folks will ask about the various interests of business, the labor, how can folks work together? Right. And first of all, it's designed at the local level. So we don't really address state or federal issues. We don't even take positions on local issues. We conduct seminars, we introduce topics, but we are a consensus building organization. We want the best from business and education, labor to solve problems.
It's interesting because it's not very often in the 21st century that business and labor are uniting. But I look at some of your testimonials. You handed me this testimonial sheet, and you have, the president of the Teamsters as well as a CEO of a small business. It's tough to get those 2 organizations in a room. Or is it? I mean, is that the problem? It really isn't that tough. It's just we haven't been trying hard enough.
I think what's happened over the years is that the partisan divide, there's a lot of polarization, and without getting into that, there's no need to. We all realize the small business person or the president of a union has their significant issues at the respective areas of concentration. When we come together, we could leave that at the door, if you will, and work together, enhance our network, our collective power. And for instance, small business working with education, school districts trying to save money, bringing people together at a local level. A lot of times it doesn't make the news, but we're getting things done at the local level. So
talk to us about what you are doing at the local level. And local may sound small, but the San Gabriel Valley has 2 million people in it. Right. That is the size of some states. So you have a large constituency. What have you been doing in your short 2 years?
Well, what happened at the end of last year in the fall was that then interim director of Caltrans, Malcolm Doherty, now full-time director, came down to San Gabriel Valley, gave us an update on the state of transportation. We're attracting that caliber of agency and leader to come into this area to inform folks of what's available out there by way of the procurement process. There's a lot of money out there to do work in the state. So we're attracting folks like that. Tom Torlakson on our testimony sheet is one of our strongest advocates.
He's the superintendent of public instruction for the entire state of California. So the fact that he's paying attention to the San Gabriel Valley says a lot. How'd you get his ear?
We had an education seminar last summer, and he was the keynote speaker, and at that meeting a lot of folks converged, and they were from different camps, if you will, Republicans and Democrats, educators, labor people, and looking around the room, and they realized, wow, we have a lot in common in this region and we could work together. Tom Torlakson saw that as something healthy, something productive, and since then he's been here several times to bring business leaders and school districts, superintendents, board members together to find out how to work together.
And how have they been working together? Talk to us about some of your initiatives.
Well, for instance, in the school district in San Gabriel Valley, I mean, all throughout the state, there's
several school districts.
Right. There's many. We have a lot of school districts involved with the San Gabriel Valley Alliance to come together to network, but specifically with the leadership of Tom Torlakson and some small business leaders. They've come together to help offset the problems at the district by proposing programs to save money and business ventures.
I also think about the makeup of the San Gabriel Valley. It's very diverse, has a large Latino population, a large Asian population. And as it relates to the Latino population, we know that that community has been disproportionately impacted by the recession. And we know that the jobless rate amongst Latinos has been higher than their counterparts. So what do you see on the ground as it relates to the Latino population in this valley?
Right. You have to look, again, we look at all of the rings of influence, if you will, the spheres of influence, and it starts at education. You know, the quality of education, the budget cuts, the decisions these leaders have to make impact those families. Community college districts, it's hard to get into a class now.
Right.
State schools, I mean, it goes on and on. It starts with education, then it goes to the job market. So what we've done with the Alliance is address that. It's not just about jobs, it's meaningful jobs, meaningful solutions for what you're asking.
But if you're not taking political positions,
Right.
are you making political donations? I mean, look, let's face it, the chambers of commerce, they do wield influence, often through dollars.
Yes, oh, absolutely. And by nature, a lot of the members of this alliance are very political. I mean, I'm a political director.
Right.
And you know, I do that for a living, but we look at the whole here. We look at what is missing. For instance, water. There's going to be a water conference in August here with all the various water districts getting together. And
it is raucous when it comes to water.
Yeah. Oh,
There is no doubt, especially in Southern California. I think about the disputes between the Central Water District and the Municipal Water District and this district. I mean, fighting words.
Oh yeah, and as we all know, it's a critical element of public policy, water, the future. So we are going to be in the middle of that. We're going to sponsor that. We work with the other groups, the Economic Partnership, COG, whatever other agencies. We're out there just to be part of the solution. We advocate for solutions and bringing the best ideas, entrepreneurism, you know, a lot of innovation. We want to know the best and the brightest. There's a lot of things coming out. There's some great environmental safeguards coming out of El Monte that are being put on trucks. So there's a lot of innovation going on in this region, which people don't know about. And that's part of what we say is that we're overshadowed by Los Angeles, Orange County, and the Inland
San
Empire.
Fernando Valley.
Everything. And then
Right.
there's the San Gabriel Valley. And at first, folks thought we were trying to isolate ourselves. That's quite the exception. We're saying here we are as well to help and be part of the solutions to those greater areas. And that's what we've done. We're pretty proud of that.
So what has the response been to the Alliance? I mean, I see these testimonials, but look, you're taking a different path. You're taking a path that's not been taken before. You're trying to unite business and labor. Have you gotten pushback from business and or labor?
There's been relatively little pushback. There's been questions, and we just had our second annual Sector Awards, which was highly successful in Baldwin Park, second year in a row, where we honor leaders within those areas. And for instance, Charlie Wu from Mega Toys was honored, and Sheriff Lee Baca. Assembly members who've been on the show before, Kurt Hagman and Anthony Portantino.
Yes.
You know, we had a lot of
Democrat and a Republican.
by design, and saying the best and the brightest of this area. And in the room, for the second year in a row, some folks came up to me and said, this is a different type of room. And I would ask, is that okay? And they said, this is really interesting. So we're encouraged, we're motivated, and we're expanding.
Are you getting pushback though? I mean, like you said, you're a political director, you work with a labor union. Labor unions are known for taking certain political positions, favoring a certain party.
Right. You know, actually, surprisingly, no. In the visibility of my position with a major union and dealing with LA politics, no, if anything, I've been reassured that this is a good thing to do, especially since we're operating at the municipal level. Once you start engaging in state and federal, this would not be possible. You know, we awarded
Why
the
not,
assembly
though?
members
Why not?
because it's partisan. You know, you have the Republican caucus, the Democratic caucus, you have all of these partisan institutions that don't allow as much for collaboration or consensus. It's not in the design. So that's why the Alliance is in existence, is to create that place where people could leave their political arsenal at the door, if you will, come together and work on solutions that are meaningful for students, for people who live in this area. And that's what we're happy about.
So when we talk at the end of the year, if not before, what will you be telling me? What's on the horizon for the Alliance?
We're really excited about a couple of events coming up that will highlight the rest of the year. One being an office holders reception, which we will have office holders from the area, predominantly local office holders that make decisions at the council and school board level, meeting with business and meeting with community folks. That'll be a annual event. And we're going to cap off the year with the first annual Business Champions Award to be held sometime in the fall to celebrate great business.
You're off and running. I congratulate you. Good work. His name is Ed Rendon. He is the president, founder of the San Gabriel Valley Civic Alliance. That's the name. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for watching California Edition. Welcome back to California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. I am so excited to introduce you to Sarah Williams. She just finished her freshman year at Scripps College, part of the Claremont Colleges. And from the age of 15, she was doing special work for special children. And she has been honored for that work in so many ways. You'll have to stick around to find out what that honor is. But why don't you tell us about how a book called Hope's Boy inspired you?
I read the book during my freshman year in high school, and shortly into the book, you read about Andrew Bridge going back to a detention center and seeing a boy.
He had been a foster child?
He was, yes, he was, and he sees a boy huddled in a cold basement cell by himself without a blanket, and asking the warden for a blanket. The warden slams the door in Bridges' face as a no. And reading that in the comfort of my home and my loving family under blankets of my own, I knew that there was something that I could do.
And you did in a very significant way. You started with your teammates on your volleyball team in high school.
Yes.
And you started to make blankets,
yes.
Literally making them.
Yes, they're very fun, no-sew blankets, easy to make, and Girl Scout troops and other philanthropic organizations have just latched on to this project.
That would be an understatement. Yeah. That would be a huge understatement.
Yes.
And what you did is you realized that you needed to make the project self-sustaining.
Yes.
And so talk to me about what you call, this is called a legacy kit?
Yes.
Tell me about the legacy kit.
The legacy kit is a 2-gallon size bag that has fleece, scissors, pattern pieces, and directions in the kit. And what the idea of the legacy kit is to distribute it to philanthropic organizations. And they take the fleece out of the kit, make the blanket, and then replenish the kit with a new piece of fleece and pass it along. So it is self-sustaining and a pay it forward.
And so over the last few years, you have
yes.
been touched by so many foster children. We see so many of their precious faces in this book, which you call Creative Kindness.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the kids that have touched you.
There's so many kids, but the first one that comes to mind, his name is Andrew, and he was walking through our winter wonderland where we distribute the blankets through Foster a Dream, and he picks up a girl blanket, and I go over to Andrew and I say, you know, we have boy blankets with sports on them, and he says, no, this is for my little sister when I finally get to see her again. And my heart, of course, breaks, and these kids are just so selfless, and it's time for us to, you know, give back to them something that they don't have.
Well, you have given back, and in a small way, you're getting back. Karma is come toward you.
Yes.
And so tell us about your application to Scripps College, and
yes.
you became a certain type of scholar.
Right. Scripps College, I feel so fortunate to be part of such an incredible school and student body. And I was actually nominated through Coca-Cola to run the Olympic torch.
Okay,
so,
here's the punchline. You first had been, no, it's good.
Sorry.
No, it's perfect. So you had become a Coca-Cola scholar at
yes.
Scripps College, which is
yes.
a scholarship.
It is a scholarship you apply through separate from
Scripps.
From Scripps.
And it's all good. So you were nominated
yes.
by someone near and dear to you.
Yes. My father actually nominated me to carry the torch, and I
carry the torch.
Oh,
the Olympic torch.
Yes.
The Olympic torch.
torch.
I mean, that is unbelievable.
Yes.
And so, out of all the people in the world, your dad said, I want to nominate my daughter.
Yes.
And he did, kind of behind your back.
He did. He actually surprised me. I didn't know this was coming, but soon after I found out, and here we are.
Guess what? You made it.
Yes.
So you are one of 21 Americans chosen to run a leg of the 2012 Summer Olympics torch relay in London, England.
Yes.
You're about to leave for your trip. Talk to me. I mean, what does this mean to you?
It is such an honor, first of all, to represent the United States and Coca-Cola, but most importantly, to bring awareness to these foster care children. Above anything, I would like the world to see and recognize their need and, you know, do a little something in their hometown to give back to these kids.
And so tell me about how this has helped you elevate your platform. I mean, I saw NBC in San Francisco did a story about you.
Yes.
It's our pleasure and honor to do a story about you. I mean, yes, it's wonderful you're running the torch, but like you said, you're doing it for all the right reasons.
Right.
It's bigger than Sarah Williams. It's what Sarah Williams is doing.
This is definitely a project that I say from the beginning found me. You know, I did what any other person would have done after hearing a child without a blanket.
No, you didn't. Come on, you're special. I can say that as a dad.
Yes, and so I think this is huge for people to really recognize their need. And if you think back to what a blanket means, security, comfort, warmth.
It's a metaphor.
Yes, something that these children are forced to live without. And we often distribute them around Christmas time, where these kids, you know, every kid is around their family and their friends, but these kids are in a new school district, often without many friends, without the family of their own. And so it's something that just gives them a little sense of security.
Now, what's pretty stunning about the project, it's called Creative Kindness, by the way, is that it started in San Francisco.
Yes.
It went statewide.
Yes.
It went United States-wide.
Yes.
And now it's worldwide.
Yes, we're currently in 7 countries.
Oh, just 7 countries. Now, I don't see England on the list, all.
I know.
I was just going to say, you're going there in a little while. Can we try to get...
I'm going to get some of those Coca-Cola people to make some of these.
I was going to say, but honestly, how have you gotten it to go international?
Creative Kindness was very fortunate enough to participate and asked to participate in the Girl Scout 100th anniversary celebration this past May, where 20,000 girls from all over the country and internationally came and celebrated with Girl Scouts, and they were all introduced to the project.
So what's next, both for Creative Kindness and for Sarah Williams?
That's a great question.
You're but a rising sophomore at Scripps College.
Yes.
You have your whole life ahead of you. Do you see foster care or helping children being part of your life purpose? Any answer's fine.
Definitely. I don't, whether it's professionally or personally, I definitely see working with kids and especially foster care children in my future.
One of the best pieces of news you told me in connection with your Olympic torch relay is that you get to take someone with you.
Yes.
Who's going with you?
My dad is going with me, and I feel it's just a very special connection between me and my dad, because when I first brought this project to my family, of course, we just had cleaned out our garage.
Right.
And
and
my dad finally cleaned it all out, and he was like, Sarah, I'm not going to get my garage back.
Exactly.
And I'm like, Dad, but it's for the good of the kids.
Right.
And he's like, okay. And
how did your dad find out that his nomination landed your selection?
My dad was thrilled. We received an email from Coca-Cola and a video congratulating.
So you happen to have been home because you're from Northern California.
I am.
Right?
I went home for spring break, and we found out in March. We had to keep it a secret. One of the hardest secrets I've ever had to keep.
Literally.
Yes.
You couldn't tell really anyone.
Oh.
Not even Scripps College.
No, not even. Definitely not.
And what's interesting is you had no idea, because we found out about you through Scripps College, and you had no idea how they found out.
Right.
I mean, how did they find out? Do you know?
Yeah, you know what? I don't. That'd be a great
question
question
we'll have to find
ask.
out. So as you prepare, what's going through your mind?
These kids, and you just have to remember who you're doing this for, and this is to bring awareness to these forgotten children. And it's time that we've been given so much in this country that we just give back to the kids that just need a little extra help in this
world. As I say often on this program, as the father of 2 daughters, I am inspired by you, and I hope my daughters, who are 10 and 8, grow up to be like you, to be selfless in so many ways, and I am so happy for you.
Yes.
You deserve it in
Thank
so
you.
many ways. Her name is Sarah Williams. She will be running the 2012 Summer Olympic Torch Relay in London, England. Congratulations. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for watching Charter California Edition.